This isn't ESPN or SportsCenter. I don't have to say nice things because people ahead of me are making me say those things. I'm going to tell you the cold hard truth. I'm not a person where if somebody plays like crap, I'm going to pat you on your back and say, oh, you know, he had a bad game. It's okay. He's going to bounce back. No, if you play like crap, I'm going to let you know. So last night was the championship game. It was a blue blood matchup. We had North Carolina and Kansas. It was supposed to be a great game. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I've watched a lot of basketball in my life, and I've watched a lot of football games and just sports in general. Yet that game last night was single-handedly the weirdest and strangest game I've ever seen. Now I know what you're sitting there thinking or saying to yourself, yo Matt, what are you talking about? Why was it so weird? I've never seen a team have that bad of luck when dealing with injuries in the most important game of the year. Going into the game, Armando Bacot, he was only probably 65-70%. If you watched the first couple of minutes, he didn't look good at all, and I was scared his motor was going to be low the entire game. Fortunately enough, as the game continued to progress, he picked it up and he was looking about 90%. As we all know, he got hurt again though in the last couple of minutes. You can make a legit argument in case, and this is what I actually believe, that Bacot might just be their most valuable player. Let's give credit where it's due. He was an unstoppable force in March Madness. I could go on and on about him. I love everything about his game. He's awesome. That's just one player, and we can agree on he wasn't 100%. So they're already, and by they I'm referring to North Carolina, they're at a disadvantage. How about this though? Early in the first half, Manek got hit in the face with an elbow not once but twice. They had to stop the game and he was looking straight up dazed out there, and I thought legitimately for a second he had a concussion. Moving on, in the second half, Caleb Love was running down the court and out of nowhere he rolled his ankle. That entire Caleb Love situation with the injury, him going 5 for 24, let's just say I got a lot to say about it. And last but not least, the sixth man for North Carolina, Puff Johnson. He was looking like the unsung hero. He was going to save the day. And late in the second half, you look at him and he's throwing up on the court. He had to come out of the game. You could make an argument and say that's not that big of a deal, but he was playing great. All the bad stuff that happened to Carolina, Kansas didn't deal with any adversity. If you would have told me what I just said was going to happen before the game, I would have said, oh yeah, Kansas blew them out by 40 points. Oh yeah, we can't forget to mention, and I'm going to emphasize it throughout this video because it is important. If you would have told me Caleb Love would have went 5 for 24, let me repeat that, 5 for 24, I'd have said, oh yeah, they probably lost by 50. But yet somehow, someway, North Carolina only lost by 3 points and they had a real shot to win. At one point in time, they had a 6-point lead. Going into halftime, they was up 40 to 25, 15 points. I want to make this clear. I was actually going for North Carolina, and I don't really have a legit reason. I just enjoyed watching them play and I wanted them to win. I love watching Bacot. I love watching Manek. I love Leaky Black. He's the defensive superstar. I love RJ Davis. He can create plays. And I love watching Caleb Love. You know why? Because he's mysterious. You never know what's going to happen. He's either going to go out there and drop 35 points or he's going to go out there and do what he did last night. I was simply attracted to watching this team and I was rooting for him. Technically, yeah, they were the underdogs and they weren't supposed to be there, but come on now. North Carolina, they're never really an underdog. There was just something about this team. They were easy to like, at least in my opinion. And oh yeah, we can't forget to mention their head coach. To be completely honest, I told myself before the game, I'm not going to make a video on this. You know, whoever wins, kudos to them. I got some other videos I'm going to work on. However, after what happened last night, I don't really have a choice. It's time to be honest about Caleb Love and North Carolina. If you've been watching the channel, you know how I am. I don't sugarcoat things, but if you are new, I'm going to warn you now. I'm going to give you the harsh truth. This isn't ESPN or SportsCenter. I don't have to say nice things because people ahead of me are making me say those things. I'm going to tell you the cold hard truth. I'm not a person where if somebody plays like crap, I'm going to pat you on your back and say, oh, you know, he had a bad game. It's okay. He's going to bounce back. No, if you play like crap, I'm going to let you know. All right, let me calm down. Let's get serious. As always, if you're new to the channel or simply not subscribed, we're on the road to 200K. So if you want to help our channel out, help us reach our goals, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. That's all I'll ever ask of you. If you do enjoy the content, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe because it lets me know there's people out there enjoying it and it motivates me to make more content. I know. Some of you sitting there saying, Matt, shut up. We're not subscribing. Without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, yes, I'm going to criticize players when they play bad. On the contrary, whenever they play good, I'm going to give credit where it's due. Mr. Caleb Love in the second half of the season was phenomenal, and he was looking like a first-round pick. He was finally living up to the hype and expectations. Did he have some bad games here and there? Yes, but when you take the shots he does, it's going to happen. Let's get that out the way and give him his kudos and respect. He was awesome down the stretch. Can't forget to mention he hit one of the greatest shots in North Carolina history against Duke to seal the win. I was so happy when he hit that shot. I don't want to say I hate Duke with a passion, but I do hate them somewhat. I don't like Duke. They got a bunch of rich and snobby people, and that entire program, they just act a certain way. It's easy to hate. We're not here to talk about Duke. We're going to talk about North Carolina and get back on topic with Love. The saddest part for Caleb, and I really do feel for him, is you can play great in 10 games, but it's the last game that people are going to remember. Unfortunately, as great as he played against Duke and as great as he was throughout times in the second half of the season, his worst game by far was in the most important game in the national championship on national TV. That's where I feel for him. And there's also this quote, I can't remember it word for word, where it says you can do 10 good things, but people in real life, they're only going to remember your one mistake. That's exactly what's going on with Caleb. And actually, hold on. Before we go any farther, I've been seeing a lot of this and I want to address it. I was looking on Twitter during and after the game, even this morning. There was tens of thousands of tweets of people bashing Caleb Love. Look, what I want you to understand is this. If you're going to hate somebody, then hate them. Don't love them one day, then hate them the next. I also think you got to be a certified weirdo to be hating on somebody on Twitter. You'll have people saying some hateful nonsense and tagging them like, dude, he doesn't know who you are and he's not even going to look at it. Quit wasting your time. That's not what I'm trying to get to. My point is, I hate how only 2 to 3 days ago, these same people that are hating on him, they were meat riding him. They were saying, oh my gosh, Caleb Love, he's awesome, he's this, he's that. And those same people are now saying, oh yeah, he's trash. Like my man, come on now, keep that same energy. He posted on Twitter earlier this morning a picture of him crying and it said hurt to the core. And somebody responded to it and it was actually respectable. This person said, 5 for 24 in the biggest game of the season. Come on, man. I feel for you, but Jesus, if you're shooting bad, drive to the basket. Don't keep launching up threes from half court. It doesn't matter how you slice it or dice it up. Going 5 for 24 is inexcusable. I'm gonna be honest, if you didn't watch the game, I don't even know if the 5 for 24 stat line does it any justice. There was times, especially in the second half, where when he had the ball, I was thinking, please don't shoot it or take some dumb shot, and then he'd do it. He was taking some ridiculous shots, and the only way to describe it is he was playing hero ball. It looked like the dude was playing at his local YMCA and taking every single shot he could. Here's the thing, Caleb Love played the worst game I've ever witnessed him playing, but I have mixed emotions about it. Why do I have mixed emotions? Because of the ankle injury. After that injury, he was never the same. The reason I've been compelled by it, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I'm coming to a crossroads and I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't give him the benefit of the doubt, is because I don't know how bad the injury was. You can say what you want and go, oh, he just rolled his ankle. But if you're a basketball player, you know a sprained or rolled ankle, whatever you want to call it, it's nothing to mess around with, and it can affect your game tremendously. What I saw last night is after he rolled his ankle, he wasn't explosive, and when he was driving in and doing all of his floaters and layups, he couldn't elevate. It looked like to me after that injury, he wasn't the same player, and it definitely affected his game. Maybe he just slightly tweaked it, or maybe he tweaked it a lot, but here's where you don't really know. It's a national championship and he's not coming out of that game. He made it clear. That leads me into my next point perfectly. I couldn't believe the coach left him in when he was a liability out there. There was a 2 to 3 minute stretch where he was hobbling on the court, and I get it. You want to ride or die with the players that got you there. But at that point in time, he's a wounded gazelle. Get him out of the game. I don't want to say it changed the complexion of the game, but it kind of did because they was attacking him on defense. If you notice, right when he got hurt, that's when Braun for Kansas was attacking him and ran off 6 to 8 straight points. Not only was he a liability on defense, on offense, he was still jacking up crazy shots. Hubert Davis did a great job this entire season, but I think he messed up by not taking him out of the game. At the same time, it is kind of tough because you're like, man, Caleb Love, if he's only 70%, that's still better than what I got on the bench. As much of the blame Caleb's going to get, we got to give some of the blame to the head coach for putting him in a bad position. Because at the end of the day, what's a head coach's job? To put his players in the best position to succeed. Well, last night, leaving a player out there who was clearly hurt and clearly hobbling, That wasn't a good position. And you know dang well, Caleb Love could be in a wheelchair, he's still gonna get his shots. I also don't understand why Brady Manek was not involved in the offense in the entire second half. He finished the game going 4 for 8. Him and Puff Johnson were the only players to shoot over 50%. I didn't understand that. RJ Davis and Caleb Love, they were 5 for 24 and 5 for 17. Manek's the only guy who's really a proven shooter, and yet he's not touching the ball. Let me backtrack on that statement. RJ and Caleb, yeah, they can shoot, but they were having an off night. I don't understand as a coach when you know your star player's hurt, why you wouldn't just feed Brady Manek the ball. It don't even have to be feeding him the ball, at least get him some touches. Here's my final take on Caleb Love, and I'm going to bring up Alabama football because it goes hand in hand. Alabama was playing Georgia in the national championship recently, and in the first half, their star player Jameson Williams was going off and he got hurt and he was out for the rest of the game, and it changed the complexion of the game. Long story short, Alabama lost to Georgia, and many people thought if Jameson Williams wouldn't have got hurt, Alabama would have won that game. I'm not one of those people. Injuries are a part of the game, and if you choose to play through it, I can't give you the excuse that you're hurt. So therefore, yeah, I do have sympathy for Caleb Love. A lot of people aren't showing. I'm still not going to give him that excuse that he was hurt. He played through it. It couldn't have been that bad. I've been trying to tell you this all season about Caleb. He is who we think he is, or at least who I think he is. He's Mr. Inconsistent. He's a streaky scorer. You never know what you're going to get out of him. For everybody else on the team, Bacot, you know you're getting 15 and 15. For Manek, you know more than likely he's going to make a couple of threes and he's going to be in double-digit rebounds. Leaky Black, he's a defensive superstar, not going to score much. RJ Davis, he's going to facilitate. The guy you question mark around is Caleb Love. You don't know what to think. He takes a lot of dumb shots. He takes a lot of contested shots. But here's the thing. He's done that the entire season. I don't know why people are acting surprised and brand new to this. The only difference is when he makes those shots, he looks like a superhero. But when he misses them, he looks like a terrible player and a terrible teammate. The only difference in this Duke game and the Kansas game, in the Duke game, he was taking the same shots as he did in the Kansas game. He was just making them. Carolina fans have learned the hard way throughout this entire season. You're going to ride or die with Caleb Love taking those shots. I've been seeing everybody criticizing him for taking that three-pointer in the last 16 seconds. I don't think it was that terrible of a shot, and I'm going to explain why. And here's what I'm talking about. If Caleb wouldn't have taken that shot and he would have passed it to somebody else, all everyone would have been saying is, oh, you're Caleb Love, you're the superstar, you got to take that shot. It doesn't matter what he would have done. People would have criticized him. You can't change my mind. Was it a deep three? Was it contested? Was it a terrible shot selection? Yeah, but like I just said, he's done that the entire season. I hate how people are acting like it's the craziest shot you've ever seen. They were down 3 points. It's not that big of a deal. Let's say, for example, you don't go for the three. Well, you still got a foul, and Kansas could possibly make both of the free throws, so you still wind up being down 3. I don't mind the shot, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I shouldn't have to sit up here and tell you Caleb played like dog crap. If you watch the game, you could clearly see that. The only real question here is what's next. I assume more than likely he's going to enter the NBA draft, and I haven't looked at the mock drafts, but the way he was playing later in the year, I think he'd be projected to be a first-round pick. I have no idea. I'm wishing him the best of luck. It sucks for North Carolina. I was rooting for him. I was hoping they'd win, and I was kind of sad they lost. I'm not going to lie. Well, let me know your thoughts down below. But, tell me what I'll be saying to go around my peace.